This came out of nowhere. Usually when we've got 3D cameras coming to market, we know well in advance, like especially with major brands, Acer Spatial Labs Eyes, which was a disappointment. You can watch that review. Or with brands that have had past cameras known in the stereo community, like the Kucam Ego. But here we've got some no-name Chinese brands, and they're not marketed as 3D cameras as their main feature. So this may go under the radar for many. What they are is binoculars. Are you tired of traditional ISPs like Comcast Xfinity with contracts and outrageous prices? Switch to Fidium Fiber Optics and start reaping the benefits immediately. Using my own router, I'm paying about $20 a month for my first year, and then switching to regular prices still under $50, all while getting high speeds more than enough for 4K streaming, and upload speeds that cable can't compete with. Click the referral link to receive a promotion when you sign up and see what's available in your area. Now, there have been 3D camcorder binoculars from Sony. They had a couple models, and you can still find these used sometimes around the $1,000 mark or so. But these new cheaper ones are around the $200 mark, so much more affordable. We'll get into the pros and cons of that along with camera tests. So you'll be able to get an assessment of the image quality itself. For channel subscribers, you get this episode along with all its camera tests and hundreds of past episodes in true 3D for your 3D TV or projector. Go to the members section and you can see the 4K side-by-side version of this episode. But first off the bat, it's important to note there are countless digital binocular cameras, but a lot of them are monocular. I mean, that might seem like a contradiction because it is. Some will have one eye being the viewfinder, one being the camera. Some will have actual binoculars that are you're looking at, you're seeing in real life, but the digital camera itself is just a single lens in the center. But a true 3D binocular camera will have both lenses recording. And this no-name Chinese brand that makes 4 models from what I could see, and I'm trying 2 of them, which are 2 specific different kinds. They don't make that very apparent up front, but the 2 that I'll be trying are very unique from each other. First of all, they don't skimp on the packaging. It's a hefty, thick, molded foam, gilded front, very fancy looking, fancy feeling. They come with neck straps. One comes with a carrying case, that crossbody strap, and the other one comes with the head mount, so you can wear them and flip them up and flip them back as a viewfinder. And that's because one key feature of these is night vision. So the first camera I tested was the VRNV100 model. What makes them all similar is the adjustable pieces near the viewfinders so that you can get it clear for your eyes. And the button layout, and while the menus are slightly different, the software included, it's very, very similar across models. So this model has pinhole lenses in the front, fixed focus. So right off the bat, this model is not truly what most people think of with binoculars, as in looking at subjects in the distance. This allows you to see right in front of you. It's very similar to what you're already seeing. It's not VR180 or anything like that. It's true 3D camera, 16:9. And this model does in fact have an option for to 4K 3D. So we've got another 4K 3D camera on the market just in time for when the Spatial Labs Eyes hit the market and disappeared just as soon as it came. What they don't tell you is that the 4K mode only records in 10 frames a second. So that can be somewhat okay for more still scenes, but honestly, I found that the 1080p mode, it it only looks largely indistinguishable from the 4K. So it's not like there's a huge jump in quality. I find the higher frame rate is a much bigger jump in quality than a very marginal clarity boost, if any. So full HD 1080p at 30 frames a second. Now this does also have a 720p mode that records at high frame rate 60 frames a second. But here I find that the loss of clarity is very noticeable. So interestingly, this doesn't record in any 3D format like SBS. What it does, it has two SD card slots, one for each eye. And the folder naming conventions is one has L and one has R for left and right. And you can connect that by USB straight to your computer. You don't even have to take the cards out. And it comes with a software program on the SD cards that allows you to select multiple video clips or still photos for the left and then for the right, and then click the convert button, and it'll attach them all into full width side-by-side video files or still photo files. And just a note about the still photos, they are taken in the 4:3 shape, and while they do have resolution options that are very high, it's interpolation. I mean, they don't say it, but it's obviously interpolation. And I would also note that while it does have the digital zoom function, most of you will already know that that's not even worth using. I mean, you can crop it later if you wanted to, but honestly, that would just degrade the quality. So that would be only something you'd do if necessary, and definitely wouldn't want to do in camera. It's just not worth using. Another problem was synchronization. Yes, actually, sometimes it would only register one of the eyes to start recording, and you'd see it in the different viewfinders. One would be red recording, one wouldn't be. And then that messes up the file naming. And then the software that comes with it will not be able to attach the proper files together. And if it does, since the file names are off, it'll attach completely different videos together as side-by-side files. And it doesn't let you get around that manually. So you would want to use Stereo Movie Maker from the maker of the popular tool Stereo Photo Maker. A great freeware program. And you can do not only attaching the files, but also necessary parallax adjustments and stereo window placement, and allow you to do things like rendering in half width for compatibility. Another problem right off the bat that I encountered with this model was that the lenses were significantly off as far as vertical parallax goes. And, vertical parallax is not a good thing. We're not lizards. We're not chameleons. We can't do this. So, in order to see it clearly without hurting myself, basically, I had to tilt the binoculars to account for that. And of course, you have to make major adjustments in post if you want it to look usable. So again, considering this is a fixed focus camera and all these issues, I would not recommend this model. Even with the wide stereo base, which could be a selling point, there are other options. I'd easily go for the Kucam Ego over this. Much easier to use. They're full width side by side right off the bat, and at higher frame rate, 60 frames a second at full HD. Much better quality still photos, and almost as wide interaxial. So the only thing that this has going for it is that it can do night vision. So if you must have night vision with a normal field of view, then this is the model that you'll probably want. Just keep in mind all these headaches that you'll have to deal with and post-production. And also something to keep in mind with both these models is the setting of the date stamp in the corner. You'll probably want to, in most circumstances, turn that off. As you'll notice in some of the tests on this video that I didn't always turn it off. So that's why you might see it sometimes and not see it others. And also when parallax adjustment is done, of course, when you're adjusting the picture itself, the date stamp will be off. So now on to the next model. And this one I actually liked. This one found a much better experience. It was roughly the same price, less than $10 more. You know, a lot of the things that we said about the previous model can be said about this, except I didn't have the same synchronization problems, nor did I have the same severe vertical misalignment problems that I had with the other one. So maybe I just got fortunate, and one was, there's like a wide range of quality that comes out of the factory. So maybe I just got fortunate in that area, or maybe these are generally better and the others are generally worse in those areas. I don't know without testing a bunch. So you'll have to find that out for yourself if you're interested. But some of the things that make this different is these are more of actual binoculars. These, let me flip down the lens covers. This one actually has lens covers. Notice the lenses here. You have actual lenses. So not only do these zoom farther out, and you can't adjust the zoom, but what you can adjust, which is, I think is pretty awesome, is the focus. From anywhere from the background to the foreground. If you want to get one part of it very crisp, the other part blurry, you can get some beautiful shots that way. And because of the wide interaxial, beautiful distance shots. For instance, you've got optical zoom in other cameras like the Sony HDR series and the JVC, the two models they have, but the interaxial is smaller. So for use with zoom, this is great to keep the 3D effect strong. It also has more comfortable rubber-coated eyepieces with these flaps that go up to block out the light from the sides, which works very well in the field. They have a sensor here, so the screens aren't running all the time. That saves battery. So the screens only turn on when you place it to your eyes and then turn back off. And it has a 5000 mAh battery. So I've only charged it once the first time, and I've used it quite a bit for the last week and haven't charged it since. So the battery is very usable for out in the field, and it has what is currently the latest standard, the USB Type-C. Now this compass button at the top, you actually press that and you'll see a compass. You can see which direction you're facing, which is interesting. It's not really necessary, but I decided to include that. And it's also the synchronization button if you touch and hold if there's a synchronization problem. But so far, so good. The default setting is to record in a square shape with a vertical resolution of 1080, but you can change it to recording in 16:9. However, through the viewfinder, it will appear squished, and it's not open matte, it will be wider than the default setting. It'll just be squished into the square LCD screen you're looking at. One thing you want to keep in mind when recording, the 1080p mode is actually the square shape. It's 1080p vertical, but it's not the full picture. So you want to select FHD or Full HD if you want the 16:9 widescreen. And it does have a tripod mount, which can come in very handy because this does not have stabilization. So yeah, you want to have a steady hand or rest it on something. Now you can spend a little bit more and get sharper videos like I said before, the Sonys or the JVCs, which usually are 300 and up for used models from over a decade ago. But I think they're apples and oranges. I have those already, and still this was a very fun, one-of-a-kind tool to use. The quality isn't the best out there, but it is decent. And the unique elements of having that wide eye width interaxial coupled with the shallow depth of field. And then, of course, this also does the night vision, as all of these models do. You can record things that are closer to you and focus in manually, but you'll just have to keep in mind that the interaxio may be too much for resolving on another 3D display. It may look fine in the binoculars, and if that's what you're using for viewing back, then great. But if you watch it on a 3D TV, the disparity may be too much for the display or your eyes and brain to resolve. So this is definitely suited for filming from farther back. Also, the microphone is functional. It's nothing to write home about. Again, you're not going to get stereo quality or even good mono quality. It's just there, it does its job. And unfortunately, there's no manual picture adjustments. Like you can't adjust white balance or anything else manually. So some shots which can come out great in other cameras, like this shot from the Sony HDR TD10, may just be a wash in this. So things to keep in mind: you get what you pay for. Just know what you're getting into. As always, stay tuned, stay subscribed, and we've got many more reviews coming up, camera reviews, as always, to add to our library of past camera reviews and tests, plus further episodes of the Seasons series. The springtime episode will be coming up at some point, so you'll want to stay tuned for that, and I'll see you next time.